ASMR, who welcome back, perhaps if you are a returning viewer. And today I'm going to be showing you some of my classic Doctor Who DVDs. What I have, I don't have loads. I started collecting classic Who DVDs a couple of years ago. But it was about a few years before the collection range started, and initially I didn't bother with the collection because I was collecting the DVDs, and because that first release of season 12 sold out so quickly. But when they announced they were going to reissue season 12, I started with the collection sets, and then haven't really bought any of the DVDs since then because I just wait for the collection sets. So I have some, but not loads, and there are a number of stories that I did have on DVD that I got on Blu-ray, so I don't have those still. Stuff like The Three Doctors and Genesis of the Daleks, Robots of Death, Talons of Weng-Chiang, City of Death, Earthshock of the Five Doctors, Vengeance on Varos. I did have the Trial of a Time Lord set as well, the DVD set, but of course that came out on Blu-ray as well. So I basically when a story comes out in the collection that I have on DVD, I basically get rid of my DVDs. I've got a mate who is also into classic Doctor Who, and so sometimes they'll take some of my DVDs that stories I already have if they don't already have them, because they don't get the collection sets. And I think one or two of mine that I've got now are from them. Spares that they had or whatever, and there's a couple of stories as well that I got from them. I sort of borrowed those stories and watched them, but I don't own those DVDs. Stories like The Invasion and a couple of the animations, the Faceless Ones, and Fury from the Deep, and the Mind Dropper as well. A couple of Troughton stories. But anyway, let's begin with the first thing I've got, which is the beginning. Now, if you have been on Twitter recently, perhaps if you're aware of some of the drama that's been going on, I suppose you could say drama, this very first story, An Unearthly Child, is I suppose you might say in quite high demand at the moment. I'm not going to go into all the ins and outs of the drama there, what's going on there, but basically because of the way the rights and copyright worked originally back in the 60s, currently as it stands, the very first story, An Unearthly Child, will not be on iPlayer when the whole back catalogue comes on to iPlayer on November the 1st. It'll be everything except this first story. Hopefully that will be resolved sooner rather than later. It'd be great for new fans to discover this first story, because I think it's a great story. I do think it's really fun. So the beginning box set comes with the first three stories. You've got this image here with William Hartnell, a couple of Daleks. It's the same on the back as well. Yeah. And on the side there you've got Susan and the TARDIS there. And what's that? Oh, that's the junkyard. I am Foreman junkyard. There we are. So these are the three stories. So yeah, this is the image that was on the side. You've got Susan there, who is the titular Unearthly Child. You've got the TARDIS in the cavemen times in the junkyard there. I really like An Unearthly Child. Obviously, the first episode is fantastic, but I actually quite like episodes 2 to 4 as well. I watched it again not too long ago. I think it was just last year, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I remembered the first time I watched it because I think this box set was one of the first classic Doctor Who DVD releases I got. I think it was like this and Genesis of the Daleks, I think. And I remember enjoying An Unearthly Child. I remember really liking the first episode and not caring too much for the cavemen episodes, but watching it again, I enjoyed all of it. I liked the cavemen stuff as well. I don't think, even though it comes on here, I don't think I've watched the unaired pilot version of An Unearthly Child, but it is on here. I'll watch it one day, but yeah, and on the back you can see a couple of images from the story and these special features here. And you've got that artwork on the discs and a write-up of the story there. Then you've got the Daleks, and so this has got that image there of the Doctor and the Daleks that was on the front of the box. I've only watched this the once, and it was a number of years ago. I remember it being quite long and a bit of a slog, to be honest. I watched the Peter Cushing movie version in the cinema last year, and I really enjoyed that. And I have also read the novelisation of this story, and I enjoyed that. Maybe I need to give this another go, because I watched it very early on when in my, going through Classic Who, and I just found 7 parts to be way too long. Nowadays I'm much more familiar and much more comfortable with the format and the slower pace of Classic Who. So maybe I need to give this another go, because, even the first time I watched Genesis of the Daleks. The first time I watched Genesis of the Daleks, I remember thinking that was a bit too slow, and I've watched it again more recently and love it. So perhaps I need to give the Daleks another go. And then finally in this set is the Edge of Destruction. You got Ian and Barbara there, and the TARDIS. This is a fun little 2-part story. I've not watched it in a good long while, but I like the Edge of Destruction. I like Ian and Barbara, but I don't really remember too much about this story. It's a simple 2-parter made with no budget. They had nothing left. They could only afford the main cast and the TARDIS set that they already had. And I think for what it is, for those circumstances, it's a fine story. It's pretty good for the character development, and I think it's a story like this that really makes that first group of 4 of the Doctor, Ian, Barbara and Susan feel like the definitive companion group for Hartnell. Even though I think Vicky is a stronger character than Susan. I think Stephen's a pretty good character as well. But when you think the first Doctor, you think Ian, Barbara and Susan. And I think it's a story like this that does a lot of work with the characters that makes that feel somewhat definitive. But yeah, I like The Edge of Destruction. I've not watched it in a long time. And on the back, yeah, so you've got some more images there. So that is the beginning box set. Then I don't have any more William Arnold DVDs. I did have the Dalek Invasion of Earth, but of course that came out in the Season 2 collection, and of course I've seen all of Season 2, but I don't have anything else from Season 1. I don't have anything from Season 3, or either of the 10th Planet from Season 4, because Smugglers doesn't have a DVD release, does it? But yeah, then we move on to Patrick Troughton, which I think at this point is the Doctor I have the most DVDs of, purely because he doesn't have a collection set. So we start off with The Power of the Daleks Special Edition. Now this I think I got from my mate, again, who is a Troughton fan, and I think got this on DVD, was gifted this on DVD, and then was also gifted it on Blu-ray, sort of separately, or got it on DVD and then was gifted it on Blu-ray or something like that. And so I had a spare version, and very kindly allowed me to, as I say, we swap DVDs and stuff, ones that I have doubles of, ones that they have doubles of, and so yeah, they very kindly allowed me to keep this. So yeah, this is the updated animation that's only in black and white, although I watch all the animations in black and white anyway. I really liked The Power of the Daleks. If you look on the back here, you've got some more animation images there, and special edition. Now this is a 3-disc set, so what's in these 3 discs? Let's have a look. Whoa. Yeah, so you see this booklet is designed for a Blu-ray case, really. So you've got The Power of the Daleks, so that's the main feature and bonus content. And then 2 discs of special features. Curious. And there's also, because it's an animation release, if you look here, you can see it's got the alternating style of sleeve, but I prefer it more in line with the rest of the DVD range, personally. So what's on these? So we've got information about the story. What's on each disc? So disc 1 has got, yeah, so that's the episodes. You've got audio commentaries, animation gallery. On disc 2 you've got the reconstructions, like tele-snap reconstructions. Although they might not be telesnaps, but reconstructions. You've got 993 audio book, stuff like that. And then what's on disc 3? This is just all like making ofs and stuff like that. Lots of stuff though, it's just great, isn't it? But yeah, I really liked The Power of the Daleks. I thought the animation was really good. I enjoyed it. I need to watch that story again, I think. The next Troughton story I have is The Tomb of the Cybermen. Again, this is a special edition, 2 discs. I like The Tomb of the Cybermen. I don't love it. I did find it a little bit overrated, and I really don't like these Cyberman voices in this story. Personally, they're just not for me. But it's a good story. I've not watched it in quite a while, so maybe I need to check it out again. But yeah, I liked it, but I didn't. I didn't love it, but it's good, you know. And there's 2 discs there. next we have the Ice Warriors. I think that this might have been the first Troughton story I got on DVD and the first Troughton story I watched, and I remember that I didn't know that 2 of the episodes were animated. Is it episodes 3 and 4 or something that are animated? But I didn't realise. Animated episodes 2 and 3, yeah. And I just didn't know that, so I put the DVD in. Started it, episode 1 starts as normal. I'm having a good time watching it. Episode 2 starts, and it's animated, and it sort of caught me off guard. But this was good. Again, this is another story I've not watched in a number of years, so I think it deserves a revisit, although it'll probably be, whenever season 5 comes out in the collection. I think we're due a Troughton set soon. It'll either be season 5 or 6. This is due for a revisit for me. I remember liking it though, but not loving it, but I thought it was decent. Then we have the Seeds of Death. Again, this is a special edition. I like the Seeds of Death. I remember liking it. Again, it's been a while since I've watched it. I don't remember all that much about it, if I'm being honest. So again, this is another one that definitely warrants a revisit. I know I enjoyed it, and I know I liked it. And this is it's directed by Douglas Camfield, isn't it? Where does it say? Oh no, this is directed by Michael Ferguson, not Douglas Camfield. But yeah, I like this story as far as I remember, but I don't really remember much of the specifics about it, unfortunately. So yeah, I'll need to revisit it, I think. The final Troughton story I have on DVD is the final Troughton story, The War Games. Now this I got actually quite recently. Again, that mate of mine had 2 copies of the War Games, and I did not have the War Games, so yeah, I took one of their copies. I took the spare, and I watched this fairly recently, about a month or 2 ago. I watched this in one day. Obviously, it's a 10-part story. I had the day to myself. I had nothing else on. I thought, what the hell? Let's power through it. And I really, really enjoyed it. I felt that it flew by. I'm in the camp of believing that this warrants its 10-part running time. At no point did it feel like a slog. No point did it feel like it was killing time, or just repeating story beats for the sake of it. And I'm sure it does repeat those story beats and stuff, and probably is a bit too long, but it didn't feel like that, and that was really great. I did stagger it a little bit throughout the day. I had little breaks and stuff, but yeah, I would recommend, if you can, if you've got a day free and you fancy it, try and watch this in not in one sitting, but in one day. It was really, really great, I found, and I've always been quite fortunate that every story, even the long ones, I've always watched in one go, in one sitting, basically. Like this, and The Invasion I did in one day as well. That was 8 parts, which again, I really like that story as well. Yeah, I really, really liked the War Games. It's a great final story for Troughton. I really loved it. One thing I this DVD though is the translucent DVD case. All the others are grey, but this one is the sort of clear, translucent, or translucent, transparent. It's the clear plastic anyway. Just a little bit irritating. It's a little bit ugly, but you know. The story is what's important, really. That might have been a little bit loud. Yeah, I do hope though, for my own sort of my own selfishness, I do kind of hope that the first Dragon set in the collection will be season 5, because both the War Games and the Invasion I watched not too long ago, and both are pretty long stories, so I like to watch a season in its entirety in the collection, and that's a bit more of a chore. For me personally, having watched the 2 long stories quite recently, although I think it's more likely that it will be season 6 over season 5, but either way, this was a great story. I really enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's long, but it's good. So obviously that's the last Troughton story. Then I've only got the one Jon Pertwee story now. I did have stories from some of the other seasons in the collection. I had the Daemons, I had the Sea Devils, I had the Three Doctors and Carnival of Monsters. But the only Jon Pertwee story I have left on DVD is Doctor Who and the Silurians. Again, this is a 7-part story. I watched this not too long ago. Earlier this year, I think. I don't know exactly when I watched it, but I really like this. I enjoyed it. Is it a bit long at 7 parts? Yeah, maybe. But I liked it, and I like seeing Liz Shaw. I've not seen anything else from season 7. It's a season I greatly anticipate getting a collection set for, because it's a lot of stories that people really hype up. Stories like Spearhead from Space and Inferno especially, and I'm intrigued by the Ambassadors of Death, but this was really good fun. I really liked it. I love I think the Silurians in this still look pretty great, and yeah, I like seeing Liz, who I wasn't much familiar with, and yeah, I liked it. I anticipate season 7 in the collection. Although 3 7-parters in a row, it sounds a bit, I'm not sure about that, but hey, it is what it is. They're good stories. But yeah, that's the only Jon Pertwee story I have on DVD now. Is the Silurians, or Doctor Who and the Silurians. Then again, with Tom Baker, I've only got 2 stories left of his. I used to have a lot more. Obviously, I used to have Genesis of the Daleks, Robots of Death, Talents of Weng-Chiang, and City of Death. Any others? No, I think just those ones. But I have both from season 13, Pyramids of Mars. This was a pretty good story. Again, been a while since I've watched this, but I remember really enjoying it. Although not quite as much as its reputation would have you believe, but it is a very good story, and I did have a good time with it. And you know, Gabriel Wolf as Sutekh is just fantastic. So that's that. And the other story I have is The Seeds of Doom, a 6-parter. I really enjoyed this. It's been quite a while since I've watched it, but I remember really loving it. Excuse me, I'm just yawning there. Don't mind me, I'm just very tired. I don't know if I still think this, but certainly I think at the time I watched this, and for quite a while afterwards, I considered this to be the best six-parter, because it was the first six-parter I'd seen that I didn't find a bit too long. And I don't find most six-parters too long now, because I'm more comfortable and more familiar with the format and the pacing of Classic Who. But at the time I watched this, I hadn't watched too much classic Doctor Who, and I was still getting used to it. But this was the first six-parter that I really liked all the way through, and I didn't find it dragged. I didn't find it too slow or anything. I should rewatch this because it's been a number of years since I watched it, but I know I really, really liked it. And it's a popular story for a good reason. Yeah, I really like Seeds of Doom. Then I have 3 Peter Davison stories, of course, all from season 21. The first of which is Warriors of the Deep, which is not a very good story. I didn't hate it as much as everyone else does, but it's not good, is it? I got this in the Beneath the Surface, I think it's called, which was a set with where is it? With this, and also the Sea Devils was in that set as well. And yeah, both the Pertwee stories are far better than the Davison story, to be honest. It's just not very good, is it? I will watch it again when season 21 comes out on the collection, but yeah, the Sea Devils don't look very good. The Silurians, I mean, although I don't think the Sea Devils look that good either. The Merca is obviously famously rubbish, and there's just not much else going on in this story anyway, so yeah, not great. Then you get Resurrection of the Daleks. I enjoyed Resurrection of the Daleks. But I don't have too much to say about it. I probably need to rewatch this one because I don't remember too much from it, to be honest. It wasn't that long ago I watched it. I know a couple of years maybe, but it's a good story. I did very much enjoy it. I like the Daleks, I like Davros, I like Lytton. But yeah, I just don't have. I don't remember all that much about. I know what happens, but I don't remember what I think about it. But I know I liked it, I enjoyed it, but I think this one probably just sort of. I don't know, kind of passed me by a little bit almost. But it was good, it's good. And then the final Peter Davison story, The Caves of Androzani. This is pretty good. I'm not sure I would consider it one of the best Doctor Who stories, or the best Doctor Who story ever, but it is very, very good. It wasn't that long ago when I watched this, actually. I've had it for a while. I put it off for a while, but I did get round to it, and yeah, it's a very good story. I like Sharash Jack as a character. I like, obviously, Peter Davison's. It's a great performance from him. and it's a very fleshed out world and background to this story. It's a shame about the rubbish monster that's in it for no real reason. But yeah, I mean, it has the reputation it does for a reason, and it's a pretty great story. Of course, that's the last Peter Davison story I have. I had Earthshock. I had the Five Doctors Special Edition. Did I have any other Davisons on DVD before the collection? I don't think I did. No, I didn't. Then I don't have the Twin Dilemma, which means I don't have any Colin Baker stories on DVD because they're all in the collection. Otherwise, I did have Vengeance on Varos, and as I say, I did have The Trial of a Time Lord. But yeah, no Colin Baker, so we go straight to McCoy. I have 2 McCoy stories, both season 25, both the ones people talk about from season 25. Remembrance of the Daleks. I watched this again recently with my mate who keeps cropping up in this video. They had not seen Remembrance of the Daleks before, and so I was like, we gotta watch it, it's a great story. And they didn't know about Davros in this. They didn't know that he was the Dalek Emperor, and so when that reveal happened, it was a genuine surprise for them, which was good fun. But yeah, this is a pretty good story. Again, I find as I've got a bit older that the McCoy stories, I don't love them as much as I maybe used to. I really liked this the first time I watched it, and I did really enjoy it the second time, but I'm not sure that I think it's quite as good as its reputation would have you believe. And I do find that with a couple of McCoy stories. The main one I found that with is The Curse of Fenric. I've watched that story twice, once again quite recently. I'm sorry I don't get the love for it. I don't understand why people really, really love that story so much. It's not bad, but I just find there's so much going on and it just goes from place to place to place, and I struggle with the sense of geography in that story and keeping up with what's going on and who everyone is to everyone else and what everyone knows about what's going on. And maybe I'll come round on it one day, but so far I'm not much of a fan. But this story I am a fan of, and I'm also a fan of The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. It's been a while since I've watched this, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's a great, it's an interesting story. It's, I think the reason I really like this story, and the reason I searched it out is, you may or may not have heard of a YouTuber called Stu Backfull, who has a series called let me try that again. He has a series called He Who Moans. That's hard to say in a whisper. Which is a Doctor Who discussion review series essentially. And a number of years ago now, he did like a top 10, bottom 10 classic Who, new Who stories list videos. You know, like every Doctor Who YouTuber does. But Greatest Show in the Galaxy was on his list. It was quite high on his list of top 10 stories, and he talked about how it's sort of a meta commentary on the show at the time, and this show that's been going on for ages, but it doesn't have the love that it used to have, and there's still the one solitary fan who still loves it in the way they used to, and it sort of keeps trundling on. And since I understood that sort of commentary on the story and that sort of being what it's about, I really had an appreciation for it, and yeah, I really liked the story. It's campy and 80s and a it's a good story, and that's what Doctor Who is all about, really, isn't it? You know, having no money and no resources, but good storytelling prevails. It's a great story. And then the final Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who DVD I have is the movie. This is a special edition. I don't have this on Blu-ray, obviously, although they did release it on Blu-ray. But yeah, this is the Paul McGann movie. I enjoyed this. I had a good time with it. It took me a while to get around to it, but yeah, I really like the movie. You may have seen on my channel, I've started going through the Big Finish main range. I'm very looking forward to getting to the McCoy, the McCann stories. I'm really discovering what his Doctor is like, on audio at least. Yeah, I enjoyed the movie. It's not the best story ever, but this must have come in a revisitation set or something. But yeah, I had a good time with the movie. I thought it was fun. I would like to rewatch it someday. I think I'm going to rewatch it fairly soon, actually. I started introducing my mother to classic Doctor Who. She'd seen a little bit of it growing up, but she started showing a bit of an interest in it, and so I've been sort of cherry picking stories from certain Doctors to show her. And I think I'm going to pick this in not too long to get a sense of, Paul McGann's Doctor and stuff. But we'll see. And I'd like to rewatch it as well myself, actually, so yeah. But there's that. Those are my classic Doctor Who DVDs. Try and lay them out here for you. Yeah, let me know which of these stories is your favourite. What DVDs do you have? Do you still collect DVDs? Have you stopped because of the collection sets? Like I have. Because yeah, I don't really collect the DVD range anymore because, well, I'm going to get all the stories in the collection anyway, so why bother with the DVDs? But yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm just sort of stacking them up and hoping something will happen. Yeah. But those are my classic Doctor Who DVDs. I just thought it'd be interesting, just something slightly different to show you in this video. I'm trying to think of different sort of different things I can do videos on. I don't want to keep doing the same videos, just the same things. And I've started this Big Finish series, but I don't want that to become what the channel is now. I want to do other stuff as well as those Big Finish reviews. So yeah, let me know perhaps what you might like to see from me. What Doctor Who stuff that you might like to see with an ASMR twist. I've got a couple of different little ideas of stuff that I might be able to do. I might do videos on, but I'm very much open to suggestions, so yeah, let me know what you might like to see. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, thank you for listening, and I will see you